Hi and welcome again to Rockin the Planet. I'm Shane. It's great to have you here with me on the show that promotes New Zealand live music every single week of the year. This week we will get to meet with and listen to the group Roundhouse, an Auckland-based band who rocked our socks off last Friday, performing live for us at the CT Club. We'll also be talking to a very special guest and friend, Shona Laing, about her songwriting skills, and she treats us to a premiere of a new song and the twists and turns of her amazing musical career. What a great night we had at the CT Club the other evening with Roundhouse. What a band. They rocked our socks off. I'm just so glad to have them in the studio tonight. Tonight I've got Richard over here on the drums. Oh, hey, cheers, mate. I've got Don on the bass, and of course we've got Tony on the keyboards and lead vocalist. Now I haven't mentioned their surnames because I'm going to ask them. Your surname is?
Ramsey. Linklater.
Well, there you go. Sounds like Crosby, Stills and Nash, doesn't it? Yeah, great stuff, mate.
A firm of solicitors.
Yeah, exactly. I might have to send some down to you. But it's great to have you here. Let's catch up with what these guys are all about. Let's catch some hot rock and roll.
Rock the Casbah, rock the Casbah, Jerry don't like it. Rock the Casbah, rock the Casbah, by order of the prophets. We ban that boogie sound, degenerate the faithful with that crazy Casbah sound. The better when they brought out the electric camel drum. The local guitar picker got his guitar picked from. As soon as the sheriff had cleared the square, they began to wail. Sheriff don't like it. Rock the Casbah, rock the Casbah. Sheriff don't like it. Rock the Casbah, rock the Casbah. Now over at the temple, they really pack him in. The in-crowd say it's cool to dig that chanting thing. But as the wind changed direction and the temple down to 5, the crowd got a whiff of the crazy Casbah jive. Sharif don't like it. Rock the Casbah, rock the Casbah. Sharif don't like it. Rock the Casbah, rock the Casbah. The king called up his jet fighters. He said you better earn your pay. Drop your bombs between the minarets. Down the Casbah way. As soon as the sheriff was chauffeured out of bed, jet pilots tuned to the cockpit radio bell. As soon as the sheriff had cleared the square, they began to wail. Sheriff don't like it.
Earlier this week I caught up with one of New Zealand's greatest songwriters, the lovely Shona Laing. I just want to say I am so happy to be introducing my guest this evening. Very special person, big place in my heart, one of New Zealand's best songwriters, the lovely Shona Laing.
Hi,
How are you,
Shane.
Shona?
I'm good.
Great to have you here, darling.
Yeah, it's beautiful to be
Wonderful,
here. Thank you for
yeah.
the invite.
It's taken us so long to catch up, but here we are at last. I'm so excited. I've got so much to talk to you about. I don't know what we're going to start with. But, I mean, at the moment, you've got one of the most fantastic careers New Zealand music ever seen. As far as New Zealand music goes, I mean, you started off as this lovely young lady, I can remember, in 1972 on New Faces. Now, it all started there, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Now, you were writing music at an early age.
Yeah, I got a ukulele at the very early age of about 6.
Yeah.
I think my parents needed some way of directing my energy.
Yeah, and they directed it well.
Well, yeah,
Great choice.
I guess so. This
And
was
so
a
you
lot.
started on ukulele.
Yeah, I wore about 4 or 5 of them out. Got my first guitar at 10, so.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I sort of started writing.
Getting serious. And you started writing straight away.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps it was more impressionism.
Yeah.
You know, I was
and
just
learning the craft.
regurgitating
Yeah,
pop
yeah.
songs off the.
Yeah.
radio.
Yeah, like I say, you were early 70s when I just come back from England, and there's this lovely girl on stage singing 1905. Now, that's your first big classic hit, if you like. Was that an early song, or did you write that right then?
I wrote it, yeah, about then. It was actually quite an interesting story about that. When I went into Phonogram once I was signed after, I think John McCready saw the rushes of Studio One, or New Faces, to just go through all the songs I had, and at the end, he sent me a mini disc of this. I've heard it recently, but at the end of it he says, "You sure there's nothing else?" And I said, "Well, there's this one song, but it's really personal and I don't know." Played and launched into 1905, and he went, "That's the one."
That's the way. Isn't that the way it always goes? In 1905, it was based on. Was it really true? It was based on a Clark Gable.
Henry Fonda.
Henry Fonda. I knew it was an old movie star.
Yep, yep.
You had a bit of a crush on?
Total. I was totally obsessed with him for quite a while.
And so you watched a lot of Henry Fonda movies.
Well, yeah, I say that, but you know, we were all only watching one channel at the time. And no such thing as DVDs. So I used to go to the pictures and see him every chance.
I'm just curious about this. I'm not going to go on about it, but Henry Fonda, to me, it's like, Henry, you're a very plain sort of guy, nice gentleman and all that sort of thing. What was it you saw in his persona?
I think he had a real elegance about him, and he was always a good guy.
Yeah,
you know, 12 Angry Men. And although there was this fantastic movie I remember, Once Upon a Time in the West. Was it Once Upon a Time?
One of the cowboy movies?
Yeah, and he was a lawman who turned bad at the end. It was great.
Oh,
he tried to roll a cigarette in one hand throughout the whole movie
and dropped all his
and couldn't do it. But at the end, when he was taking off with the money, he sat on his horse and he rolled
a cigarette. So you remember that? It's vivid, isn't it? And how old were you then? You were only like...
Well, early teens.
Early teens, yeah. So that's the reason. And you turned out with 9... And that's based on the year he was born, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that here I was so passionately in love with someone who was 50 years older than me.
Oh, Shona, love is blind. And talking about a difference in years, here is Roundhouse with Year of the Cat.
She doesn't give you time for questions as she locks up your arms in hers, and you follow till your sense of which direction completely disappears. By the blue tiled walls where the market stalls, there's a hidden door she leads you to. These days she says, I feel my life like a river running through the year of the cat.
Now, calling all budding musicians as well as professional musicians, if you desire to aspire to greatness in the music world, you need go no further than Music Planet. Their friendly, helpful staff really know their stuff, all being talented musicians themselves. They will help you get started no matter what your budget. New guitar or bass strings, drum skins, a keyboard, guitars, hundreds of musical instruments to choose from. Be spoilt for choice. 9 friendly stores throughout New Zealand. Music Planet.
The year of the cat.
Great Al Stewart song, Year of the Cat. Now let's rejoin Shona and talk about her early days in the 70s in England. London was full of these incredible people that you didn't realise you were going to meet up with. I know, I had the same experience.
Yeah, it was amazing. I did a Cliff Richard show about that time too. That was to do with the guitar player. Yeah. But then, because it was sort of so far away and it was being paid for from here.
Yeah, of course.
And you know, in those days, it would take you 2 days to get a phone call through. I mean, and then if you could hear,
I had to go down and put my money in the call box and ring every day into NEMS. I was trying to get a contract with NEMS, and I used to go down there every day. Then I'd get the train in and go and sit in the office all day. And you're lucky if you got to see anybody. Then you go all the way home again.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I could do it again. It took some power, I tell you.
So anyway, what was that? May '76. I joined some friends from Lower Hutt in a Volkswagen van and went to India. So that sort of was 6 months out.
Tell me about India. I mean, did you enjoy it? You learn a lot there?
Oh,
you didn't go learn the sitar, obviously.
No. It was very much a journey. You know, we headed off from London and went through. Well, I don't know. I think I perhaps thought I was going to find myself in India, but I didn't.
As we all do. India's not quite the same when you get there, is it?
No, it was pretty shocking. Really.
Yes, pretty horrible place.
We only went northern India.
Yeah.
Well, it took me 5 months to get there and 18 hours to get back. I flew from Delhi to London.
Yeah, you couldn't wait to get out.
Oh, no, it was the end. I'd run out of money and was always going back.
Back to London.
Yeah.
But when you were at EMI, did you go to Abbey Road or where?
No, we
where
did it
record?
at Rockfield in Wales.
Yeah,
Same place
Rockfield,
where...
at Dave Edmunds' studio.
Well, and the Queen did...
Rockfield, yeah.
Did Bohemian
Huge
Rhapsody
studio
there.
at the time.
The Damned were recording at the same time as we were in Studio
I
B.
I worked with them.
Bill, the producer, had garlic hanging up all around the place because the Damned were next door.
Keep the evil spirits away.
And so that had a turntable hit song called Don't Tell Me, which was like A-listed on Radio 1, but there was a factory strike at the EMI plant.
Isn't it the way it works for us?
That's my life.
And
So it was played on the radio like for 6 weeks, all day, every day. And Manfred heard that. So it was like another thing where it was going sort of slightly, oh God, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And he got in touch with my manager and I met him.
Well, Annie put a nice analogy on it the other day when she was here. Annie Crummer, she was in here and she said, in this business you never know what's going to happen next.
Absolutely.
She said, I think, how am I going to pay the power bill this week?
Yep.
She said, and suddenly, whoop, bang, it lands on the table and I can pay my power bill. Shona, talking about power bills, let's heat it up with one of the classic songs from the 70s, my favourite, Psycho Killer. Enjoying the great sounds of tonight's show? The instruments and voices are being mixed with the help of student engineers from the SAE Institute in Parnell, Auckland. They will train you for an exciting career as an audio engineer, mixing and recording music for a variety of situations in their state-of-the-art facilities. Contact SAE Institute, your pathway to a great career. And a special mention for Rex Jury from West Coast Sound, who oversees all the live audio for Rockin The Planet. Let's get back to my chat with Shona Laing now and talk about the inspiration for that wonderful song, Glad I'm Not a Kennedy. Now, I'm glad I'm not a Kennedy. I mean, what a magnificent song. And it proves it worldwide. I mean, a lot of people bought that record around the world. And it was a minor hit in various other places on the planet, but obviously a big hit here in Australia. What inspired you to write such a magnificent song? I mean,
it was actually Edward Kennedy was running in a primary, Democratic primary for the presidency, 84.
Yeah.
I don't know if that date's right.
But
84, 85.
around about that time.
And he was on the TV. I hadn't seen him for years and years, and I just thought, my God, look
Another
at him.
Kennedy.
Yeah, and I said, I'm glad I'm not a Kennedy.
Yeah.
Out loud.
Yeah.
And bells went off, fire engines, sirens.
And the guitar came out. And
well, I went out. It was actually the keyboard part.
Okay.
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, okay.
And it all happened in 20 minutes.
So you sat on the keyboard and wrote it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or sequenced it. Like, I'm not no keyboard player.
Yeah, but I mean, you actually sequenced it.
Dun, 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 dun,
Wrote the chords in.
Writing in the rest.
Yeah, good on you. That was a great song, classic. And of course, you followed that with another hit.
Well, Soviet Snow, that actually took off in the States of its totally own volition. We didn't even know about it.
A lot to do with the title, I think, because it's such a subject matter in America. Soviets.
Well, it was just before the war came down, so it's kind of...
Stuff, so
it was very interesting. It was kind of confusing. I sometimes think that they have no sense of irony whatsoever, so they interpret things at face value, so I'm not sure they actually knew what I was talking about.
But Soviets, what a song.
Thank you.
And it's commercially, I mean, tunefully, musically, it is catchy.
Well, we do it with the girls, all the girls in Debbie Harwood's band of Gold, and it just takes off. It's just unreal to sing.
Well, it certainly took off at the CT Club last Friday. And if you enjoy meeting people and having a good time, come down to the Commerce Club, also known as the CT Club in Remuera. It's where we record the bands on a Friday night. But there's more to it. With 12 gaming machines, a TAB, pool and snooker, a great food selection, 2 friendly bars and ample parking. There's also a function room big enough for over 200 people. There's so much more. Come on down for a drink or give Anton a call on Auckland 524-4094 and become a new member.
Sunshine when she's gone. Well, it's not warm when she's away. There ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and this house just ain't no home anytime she goes away. Wonder this time.
Back to my chat with Shona and the premiere of a brand new Shona Laing song. Now you're still writing songs, that's what I want to get to.
Yeah, I'm not nearly as prolific as I was. I used to write half a dozen songs a week.
Could I ask
back in
you,
those
I
days.
mean, that's something I am interested in, is how many songs do you think you've written now, Ben? Because you were so prolific, your albums, how many albums have you put out? It must be
10 original
There's 10
albums.
original albums.
Yeah.
All original songs, probably what I'm averaging 12 songs in an album?
Yeah, 11, 10.
11, 10 maybe. Well, that's a lot of songs. That's I'm trying
It's
to.
120
There's 100. So I mean,
yeah.
but you've written a lot more than that.
Well, the year I've got a schedule from a contract when I was doing the British album, I was signed to Essex Music, and I think there were 150 songs on the list of
There's
in a year.
songs. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, well, I just did this what I did, you know.
Beautiful and magnificent songs. I'm actually considering going to the studio and covering one of your songs now. I'm excited.
Oh, that'd be beautiful.
That would be just well. Write me one if you like. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you. You've got new songs. You're still writing, obviously.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get in touch with Shona just lately, and tell you what a difficult task that was.
Everyone knows where I am.
And when I finally got through, she said, "Oh, I'm busy painting." So I thought maybe she's doing artwork and she's really engrossed. No, she's painting her house inside. She's painting the interior. But also she is painting now. You've taken up art as part of your craft, if you like, your outlet.
And this, it's been very interesting. They get better and better. It's quite
They do.
interesting how practice makes perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not perfect.
So you spend a lot of time doing that.
And political
you are-
posters is the other thing. It's sort
Political
of,
posters.
I love sort of Russian and Chinese political posters.
They
They're
are
very
amazing,
interesting.
aren't they? Up the workers.
Yeah, all that stuff.
All that stuff, yeah. The strong iron fist and the hammer and sickle and boom, boom.
And they're so sort of graphic and to the point. So
To the point,
I love
exactly.
that
so
stuff.
You're actually painting in that mode?
Yeah, and using cutouts out of, I've got a fallen apart Soviet political poster book, so I'm actually even using some of the
Can I ask
posters.
your political beliefs? Are you a communist?
I'm a socialist, for
Socialist,
sure.
there you go. Well, that's pretty close.
I don't know if I probably am a communist, but
No,
it's hard to
you're not a
admit that
communist.
with Stalin.
You still go
know.
after your royalties. You check out your...
Yeah. But you never know. If I had more, I might share.
It might change. All right. Now, like I said, now we're getting back to the music. You still write beautiful songs. And would you do me the honour of playing me one of your beautiful songs?
I'd love to. Well, I thought I'd do this other one, which is actually memories of the time I lived in Brixton.
And we talked a lot just earlier about that, and I'd love to hear all about that because it's funny. I've got wonderful memories of those times in London, and I never want to go back though, isn't it funny? I never want to go back.
Sometimes I hanker for it, but I think it would be very disturbing now.
It's changed.
Yeah,
it's
with
not
all
the
the
London we knew in the 70s.
Semi-automatics and the whole
Yeah, it's all changed.
anti-social brigades.
Yeah,
and
they're
it's
all
very
there now.
strange.
Yeah.
It's like the futuristic
All
England.
those communists are there now. Anyway, we're going to have this beautiful song.
This song, it's separate memories of
Okay.
this flat that I lived in called It was a little detached house called One Selena Road. It's not rock and roll.
Sounds beautiful. You won me already.
Those trips had a little Mickey Mouse on them. No pictures, but for the way the words fell. Those trips came from a libertarian, big Scottish bear of a man who lived down the other end of One Selena Road. One Selena Road. One Selena Road. You stood halfway up the stairs, said, "Marry me." I laughed out loud, thankfully, as much in love with the others too. That warm white room, those heady afternoons at One Selena Road. 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 One Selena Road.
Give me a hug. It was so beautiful. I'm so moved.
Thank you. Yes,
I am so moved. That was beautiful.
thank you.
Sorry, I was truly moved there. I'm brought to tears. It was so, going back to the 70s. And, oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that house was just inside the Brixton Riot cordon. So.
And obviously those characters in the song were all the people that you were flatting with, and events that happened. Someone asked to marry you.
Yeah, someone asked me to marry him.
You don't regret turning him down?
Not at all. As I said in the second, I laughed out loud, thankfully.
Oh, just a great story. That's the way songwriting's all about, just building that picture, So you're still painting anyway. You're painting pictures with your words.
It's a different sort of a song for me, I think. That whole, I've written songs about occasions, but never...
You're still writing the most beautiful songs.
Thank you, Shane.
And what are we going to do? We'll get you in the studio and make some more records?
Yeah, I've been, I don't know if I should say it, but I've been having these rather oblique conversations with Bruce Lynch, so we may get something
Mr.
together.
Lynch.
I think he's the man.
He's the man. And you have a rapport with him, and that's the important thing.
We have
That's
worked together before.
Talking about producers today on
and we're
the radio.
both grumpy old buggers now, so we have a lot of fun.
He's a grumpy old bugger. You haven't grumbled once since you've been here, and of course...
On my best behaviour.
Well, the whole of New Zealand's so lucky that you're still here, darling.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shane.
Wonderful having you on the show.
It's a pleasure, real pleasure.
I want you to come back and talk to me some more when you get the new record and get that song down on tape.
Will do.
Love you.
Okay, thank you so much.
The wonderful Shona Laing, and now it's time to catch up with the guys from Roundhouse. Tony Ramsey, the man who actually started out the band, I believe. Is that right, Tony?
Yep.
Say hi.
Hi, Shane.
Good to shake your hand, mate.
Yep.
Now, it evolved. You've been out working. I know you're a bit of a star because you've been around all the traps. You've been playing for years.
Sure.
I'm not aging you or anything,
No,
but Tony,
not at all.
your career started with where?
Well, in terms of Roundhouse, it started about 10 years ago. It was originally a duo, a jazz duo with a mutual friend of ours, who subsequently, after about 2 years, left. So it started as a jazz band and it sort of evolved over time.
Really?
And Yeah.
Jazz?
Yeah, jazz band. So we've really got two repertoires. We've got a jazz repertoire and we've got a rock and covers repertoire, and which we can basically mix and match depending on what sort of gig we want.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can mix and match.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
We'll do
yes.
anything.
Tony, your career as a singer, you're a great vocalist
Thank
too,
you.
As well as a great keyboard player.
Thank you.
Did you start out somewhere?
I went to Australia and tried, my hand being a bass player in bands and so forth. Then got married, moved back to New Zealand.
So you're a multi-instrumentalist?
Yeah, well, I play. I sort of dabble in things. Yeah. I started teaching because I thought I need a proper job, and and so there was a period of time where I wasn't in any band at all. I was in a band with Richard and our mutual friend Steve, and then I thought after a while I'm not in a band and I'm teaching kids to be musicians. So I'll start a band. So Steve and I started as a duo, discovering jazz really, which I liked, but I had no idea how to play.
No, it's like Richard. I met Richard a long time ago, many years ago, and Richard, you've backed me on concerts at different areas in different venues and things. And that's how I met you. And you had longer hair then.
I certainly.
And there was nothing silver about it. And it was just straight down, And I can remember us doing some shows, and I thought, oh, this guy's really good. He's a hot drummer. Hey, man. And you were always enthusiastic. That's what I liked about
Still
Richard.
enthusiastic, yeah.
So enthusiastic. You've been a drummer for many years.
Would you like to know how many?
But you're all, no, I don't want to know. No, we're not going back to the Stone Age. But that's where I come from. But you're a teacher as well in music, so you're all prolific musicians. You know your stuff. Tell me about your teaching.
Teaching? Well, I started probably about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Before that, I'd run my own business as an accountant, but I just.
Oh no!
Accounting.
God.
Yeah.
I can't
saw
even
the
do a
light,
tax
Richard.
return.
What I finally figured out was when I was pushing the Zimmer frame around the old folks' home, that it'd be it'd be the gigs I'd played and the people I'd played with that would be fond in my memory, not the books that I'd done. And I thought, life's too short.
It is, exactly.
I'll play music, and I figured by that time I'd been playing long enough that I could probably figure out how to teach people as well.
Yeah. Are you teaching at all?
No. Well,
he's the only one that doesn't.
teaching. I'm actually an engineer these days.
Engineer?
Like a hydraulics.
Hydraulics?
In rubbish.
You have
He's a rubbish engineer.
You mean you compress rubbish? Is that what
Rubbish, yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of hydraulics involved there.
There's only thing you can do. You've got bass players' hands. It's your strength.
Okay.
But Rich and I actually met at university back in a few years ago.
Were you trained to be an engineer?
So I was going to say, there's a degree in this compressing rubbish.
No.
We never made it that far.
Compressing rubbish 101.
It's too big a part of our career, our interest.
But you've been playing bass for many years.
Yeah, I really started professionally or semi-professionally with Roger Skinner back in about 1970. Richard met him one day and he mentioned my name and Roger said, I thought he'd died.
But we all...
No, he just smells funny.
We're always
As a rubbish engineer.
we're gasping for breath when we see Roger still going. Roger's still playing, look, we're still there. They're saying that about me.
Yeah.
Hey, isn't it great that we're all here still?
Exactly.
Eh? And we're all rocking and rolling together, doing the thing that we love most, playing our music. Now, if you're looking for a great band, I'm telling you, the Roundhouse are the band to get. Get them out there. They're great. They are a covers band, but wow, that's music. That's what it's all about. And we want great bands in New Zealand out there rocking and rolling around the club circuit and things. And that's what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I know we're going to hear a lot more from Roundhouse.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, guys. It's been a real pleasure having you here. Love you. All right. I'm Shane saying thanks for joining me this evening on Rockin the Planet. But before I go, just a reminder, next week my special guest is Mr. Jordan Luck from The Exponents, and we'll be talking about his life and career and a fabulous new song that he has written for Dinah Lee, our very own Dinah Lee. Join me. Good night.